Yo, yo, yo! What's up? Your favorite governor here again, giving you another dose of evidence and reason. Today I want to make a small video regarding there is a chance that it's gonna be a little bit of a rant as usual, but today I want to make a video regarding why do you feel as a man that you always lose when it comes to be about anything related to women. And I'm gonna go over this and I'm gonna give you some examples, and so you can make up your own mind and have a strong argument when it comes to be about having these discussions with any other person that comes across that wants to have this conversation. I got bad news for you. There is no possible way ever in history, in life, in the future, and obviously not in the past, that you stand any kind of chance when it comes to be about winning any kind of battles with women. And it's based all on biology. Once again, the good old biology. How does this work? Well, it's pretty simple. Men don't get pregnant. Since men don't get pregnant, you need women. They are the only ones. They are the keepers of the gates of reproductions, and they know this. So, in a very graphic example, if you have 10 guys and you have one woman, you can make one baby. If you have 10 women and you have one guy, you can make 10 babies. They know this. And that is why some people get mad and they want to retaliate. But at the very end of the day, let's say, just, put a great example. Some people are mad because some people might be mad because women didn't have the right to vote for so long. And it was a simple reason for that. If you're not subject to the draft, to go to war and be blown in pieces and come back with missing parts of you and all of those goodies that comes from war, then you shouldn't, for some people, then you shouldn't be able to vote, because you cannot vote objectively when it comes to be about matters that are gonna eventually end up in war. And then you don't have to go to war, and the men have to go to war, and the men have to die, and the men have to be blown in pieces, and everything is gonna be messy, but only for them. So that is at the very root of why women didn't have the right to certain things, including voting. Now it's different. Now women were given the right to vote and still have no responsibility towards voting objectively. I mean, if you're given a right, the less you can do is educate yourself in the subjects that you have to vote about, so everything don't end up in war. And, well, once again, men have to go there and die and be blown in pieces, and all the goodies. Now they can vote, and some men might say, sometimes, some men might say, well, what if we send them to war? What if we subject them to war? And my question, if you are one of those by any chance, my question is, well, okay, who's gonna get pregnant? Or are you going to support this civilization? Traditionally men always have been protecting women, because at the very end, at the very bottom of every, you might call it white knighting, you might call it mangina, you might call it all those kinds of things that are real, by the way. But at the very root of all that is a very simple concept. And it is, if women die, we don't get babies. And if we don't get babies, you diminish the tribe, and then you conquer. It always has been like that, and it always will. You diminish the tribe, and then you conquer. That's why you see so much push right now for women, from the media and all that, the socialists and communists and neo-Marxists and all those guys, to diminish the tribe. Work, pay taxes. Don't worry about having kids. Don't worry about relationships. You can get that down the road. Down the road, by the way, if you're a woman, when your sexual market value is in the toilet, you are not as good, because the next generation of 22 years old is right behind you. It's pushing you. So if you don't get something good now, those guys right behind you are going to take it for sure. When all the available good, decent men are taken already, that's when you are thinking, if you're a woman, to start thinking in, getting a family and all that, which I strongly advise you to not do. Do not wait. Do not prioritize careers. Do not prioritize degrees and careers and all those things, because none of that is going to bring you, for the 99.9% of women, none of that is going to bring you a lot of satisfaction. If you think that your little paper pushing job in the artificially illuminated little cubicle is gonna bring you any kind of joy, I think compared to raising the next generation of human beings, I think you might be mistaken, to put it, mildly. It is not. Raising the next generation is by far more important and more exciting and more comfortable, by the way, than any kind of little job in an office. And only a very, very small number of women have that kind of career, like extremely exciting and extremely fulfilling. And usually those women are like, they just don't have any kind of maternal instincts. They are different, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But for most women, they only have a job. It's not a career. And if you're trading that for raising the next generation, having your kids and bringing your family and creating your home, and it's gonna be brutal for you, because after you hit 30 and you cannot find a suitable partner, and everybody's taken, and some of your friends are already having kids, and you're trying and you're desperate, and you're running out, because unfortunately for women, you have a small window for reproduction. By your late 20s, early 30s, you're pretty much done already with reproduction, and that is when the women are, start realizing it is extremely hard for them. They hit the wall, what some people call the wall. They are not as attractive anymore. It's brutal on women, and by that time it's gonna be too late for you. Very late. And it's gonna be cats. It's gonna be cats and dildos for you until you die. And I strongly don't advise that for you. You could do way, way better than that. But if you're too busy working and you are too busy studying, and you are too busy in your reproduction window, then you might lose your window, and it's gonna be bad. So think of that. And then on top of that, you're gonna acquire all this debt, and you're gonna acquire, oh my gosh, all these problems. And when when you're gonna get married, marry's a legal binding contract, and who in his right mind will be willing to take to, I don't know, 40, 50, $100,000 in debt in a career that, by the way, you're not gonna be able to practice because you're gonna get pregnant and you're gonna have babies and you're gonna be disabled for X amount of months. At least if you're gonna be a decent mother, because first you're gonna be like 9 months, especially the last 5 are gonna be very hard on you, and you're not gonna be able to work, and it's gonna be hard on you. And then you are gonna have at least 18 months of breastfeeding. It's very advisable if you want to your kid to do good, and to that have proved to have a very good impact in IQ development and all that. And well, there is a chance that you're not gonna, because once you feel these feelings, it's kind of hard to go back. And then there is a chance that you're not going to you're not gonna want to go back to work, because who in his right mind would like to go back to what I call the class of the free market after you have your baby and you have your husband and you have your house, and you're having so much fun sometimes, most of the times, at least you're doing it right, because, oh man, believe me, raising kids are very, very challenging and very fun. It's not easy. I don't have kids, but I can see, which is good. My brother have 3. Somewhat I participated there, somewhat, more or less. So it's very challenging, and you're gonna notice that you have a full-time job already being a mother, and you're not gonna go back. And now you have all this money in debt, and you have to pay back because you cannot even discharge student loans, not even through bankruptcy. But then it's only one income, and your husband have to pay for all that. But then the main thing is, like, you spend all that money, you spent all that money, you took that money out of taxpayers that could have been used for someone that, I'm gonna be brutal, for a man. And you're gonna say, oh, how do you dare to say that? Well, men don't get pregnant once again. We don't get disabled for 9 months. We don't, or 4 or 5, depending on how hard are you on yourself. We don't have to breastfeed. We don't have to. That means that we're gonna work longer hours, and the return on investment from society in men is gonna be greater than the investment from society in women. Because once again, at least you're not gonna get pregnant, and you're not gonna have kids, and you're gonna hit it hard. At least you're gonna be that kind of woman. Then you're gonna work less hours, and then you're gonna not come back to work at all, and then there is less diminished return in investment every time you invest on women, in with taxpayers' money, with student loans and all that. And then there is the other problem: the more women you have in a particular field, since once again they get pregnant and they breastfeed and they do this and they do that, some of them don't come back to work ever. That means that you're gonna need more women to fulfill the same amount of work and the same amount of, let's call it, return on investment, than men. Because men wouldn't get pregnant, men wouldn't go breastfeeding, men wouldn't just not back to work anymore. It's a negative sum game. I got bad news for you. More than 60% of women right now, more than 60% of the people that are in colleges right now are women. And most of them are using student loans, which is taxpayers' money. And I hope most of them are gonna get pregnant, and most of them are gonna have kids, and most of them are going to breastfeed, and because that is, the base of society, a strong, good society. And but at the same time, after all that money's been spent and money's gone already, they got their degree, let's hope that they are able to find a husband, and they're not gonna be able to pay back with services, with the service that are expecting from them. Because, well, once again, they want to have a life. Everybody wants to have a life, but women especially. And once again, it's evolution. Too many millions of years, or thousands of years, depending on your religious belief. The environmental pressures, kind of like women evolved to be empathic with the kid and protect the kid and don't let the kid die, and that hardwired the brain in a different way, being more neurotic, and it's a different thing. You need to take care of that infant. That infant cannot protect himself or herself, and that infant always is right. You cannot force discipline in an infant. Once you have 5 or 6 years old, you can start having these conversations, and they might stick or not. But with an infant, that is, don't bother. It's not gonna work. And women are traditionally, not traditionally like since the 1950s, like traditional since the dawn of civilization, the ones that have been taking care of the kids, while men have been trying to put systems together so they can bring food and so they can provide for their families and their tribes. So going back to the why women always win is a very basic instinct from men. Men at the very bottom, they just don't want to what is the right word? If you have an encounter with other men, you can go all out with that man. And part of that is because sperm is available. Eggs are rare. So remember, 10 guys, 1 woman, 1 baby. 10 women, 1 guy, 10 babies. And we know that. We will never charge against a woman, because then we die. Regardless. I mean, I'm talking as a society. We will never put a woman in harm's way, because then our society dies. And women are banking on that, and politicians are banking on that too. At the point that they find it out, it's all science, man. It's all biology. They understand that the proclivities for women to be more interested in people, and the proclivities for men to be more interested in systems and things. Once again, it's evolution. And they are pumping all this rhetoric full of feelings through the TV, the radio, the newspapers, to every possible avenue that they can to earn and have a reliable block of voting, the woman vote. Because women tend to be more, in general, they go more for feelings than what it is, than they go for evidence and reason. Right now, let's put a concrete, very simple example. The caravan, 14,000 people, 8,000 people, whatever the number is. Nobody knows exactly, but those people are knocking right at the door. And women, I see so much women thinking, oh my gosh, we have to take care of them and we have to provide for them, and this is a big country and we can make it and we can do it, and they're running from whatever, and poverty or crime and this and that, and we have to help them. And how can you blame them? They grew up, they evolved, or they were created, once again depending on your religious belief, to empathize with other people, especially infants. They have to. This translates to every part of their lives. They think with emotions. Emotions move women. That is what women see. Oh, we have to take care of that, or we have to do this, and we have to do that, and we have to provide, and this and that. What men see, because men are the ones working. Just in case you didn't notice it, men pay more than 80% of the taxes of this country. Women in general, regardless of they work or not, well, they don't work force. But even when they work, most of them are a negative sum game for the taxpayer system. So what men see is, holy moly, look, all these guys are gonna come. All these people. Let's not talk about the males, the whole thing. All these people are gonna come, and they're gonna need healthcare, and they're gonna need housing, and they're gonna need this, and they're gonna need that, and they're gonna use social services, and they're gonna use public services, and then you're bringing people. I mean, who's gonna pay for all that? It's a rhetorical question, of course, because we all know who's gonna pay for all that. The tax cut. The tax cut of the American taxpayer system, which is white males, mainly. And they have to pay for all this, and they just don't want, because who in his right mind will volunteer for taking on top of the things that you have, or all these other things? More taxes, more this, more that, more debt, more. No one. I mean, the healthcare system is already collapsed the way it is. Imagine with more people. It's not gonna end well for anybody. So, yeah, men think more in the cost versus benefit of certain things or everything. And women, they see things more from the perspective of the feelings. And feelings are not gonna take us anywhere. We have to think with them. We have to use evidence and reason and make decisions. I'm gonna give you a small example. A few days ago, GM announced that they were gonna close several plants, and they were going to discontinue several cars, and this is gonna be brutal, and a lot of people that are gonna lose their jobs. And now that person that took that decision, it was a woman. Do you think all women are like that? How many CEOs? How many women CEOs are? How many CEO women in big companies are? There are not that many. Because that is a ballsy, extremely hard decision to make. I applaud that woman. They are not selling those cars. They have to cut them. I know Trump said something about, hey, you're not closing the plants in China, and you're not closing the plants in Mexico. Well, it's a market decision. They have a big market in China, and it is cheaper for them to produce in Mexico. Well, maybe we can fix that. I'm not supporting this decision. I'm not, but what a decision. Now, that might be empowering for most women, but in reality, most women won't take that decision. Because all these employees and the kids, and we are in Christmas, and how do you dare to do this? We cannot have suffering. We cannot have suffering. Well, it's a little suffering now, or a lot of suffering later on, because it's bad to unemploy 8,000 people, or 14 or 15. I don't know the amount of people, but it's even worse if the company goes bankrupt. That one is hard. And some people cannot have a little suffering. And you see that in right now in politics and in everything. We cannot have a little suffering, and that is gonna end up in a lot of suffering for everybody. You can see it in the political world. What are you doing? You can see it in the political world. You can see it in the especially the political world. We are like kicking the ball down the road and kicking the ball and kicking the ball and kicking the ball in so many areas, in so many aspects. Eventually, there is not gonna be a return on, salvation. There is no salvation already for some states. Some are way past any kind of salvation. Because evidence and reason and reality always catches up, and the bills always comes too. And there are others that they don't want to give up on evidence and reason, and they are facing a very harsh response from all the other states that are going down. This is happening in Europe too a lot. Some European countries are destroying themselves. Some others are saying, you know what, I'm not gonna be part of that, so good luck with your self-loathing, self-destruction kind of behavior. Let's see how that ends up. It's not gonna end well for sure. So back in the days, I don't know if you're familiar with, maybe you have seen the movie. There was a little town. It was called Salem. And there were these trials going on because there were suspicions of women being witches and all that. That didn't end well. Because every single woman they killed. And within a month, everybody was banging pigs. And then there was no woman. No babies. So think of that. Every time you get upset because either you feel like you're having this kind of like white knighting behavior or mangina behavior, or I don't know, any of those kind of things, I want you to know the roots of that behavior, and you need to understand this. At least you need to be conscious of why you are doing whatever you're doing. And this goes in a society level, and I know it's hard. I'm not advocating for keeping this behavior going on because, the way things are going, eventually men will, you can see it right now, they are dropping off school, they are not going to college, they are retreating to video games, and men are stopping engaging women because it's a game that is nothing to be gained for men and everything to be lost. The family court system is not fun for you. The divorce is obviously not fun for you. Basically, if you have a penis, you're done, you lose. And this is having an impact on society. I mean, the sad part about this is that there are real wolves out there that are ready, always ready to take over. You don't know they are there. You don't see they are there, but they are there. And they are seeing what is happening. Diminish the tribe and then conquer. Diminish the tribe, dry the woman's uterus, and then conquer. It always have been like that, and it always have worked. Diminish the tribe, dry woman's uterus, make them believe that their job and their career and all that is more important Don't let them have kids. Then they get old, they cannot have kids, they cannot find a husband, and everything is bad for them, and cats and dildos once again, and and then conquer. And those guys are out there, clearly. They are seeing what is happening here. And my concern is that eventually when they knock at their door, men are gonna say, well, I'm not gonna fight for this. If you're a woman, please listen to these words. This is what you're doing to men, to most men. I am not going to fight for none of these women, and I'm not gonna fight for this system, because bottom line, men are the tax cow of the system. They are only being used for paying taxes and you know, they are just being used. They are useful pounds, if you want to, with the sole purpose of shut up and pay taxes, so we can have this fantasy in which we are living in right now. Because none of this is real at all. All this level of abundance and wealth, and none of this is real. The real world is pretty Darwinian, like seriously Darwinian. Kill or die, dog eat dog. That's a real deal right there. And we have managed to kind of distance ourselves from that kind of world, which is good. But unfortunately, that creates people that don't know how reality works, and they end up bringing doom over everybody. And fortunately enough for us, before we have men there that were stepping on the plate and protecting Western civilization. But the way Western civilization is evolving, there is no place for men anymore. And you know, and you just, why would you say something that is totally skewed against you? Why would you? I strongly hope that we don't get there. And once again, if you're a woman and you think that you're strong and independent, and you work and you don't need a man, and all those lies that have been indoctrinated and pushed down your throat, let me tell you something. All this that you have around you have been either created, built, or maintained by men. If we drop everything and we go away, this civilization will collapse. The roads that you drove on in the morning, built, created, and maintained by men. Your house, your car, your air conditioning, the groceries that you buy, everything that you can possibly think, once again, have been invented, created, and maintained by a man, by several men. Be grateful to men. Regardless, don't forget I am a man. Forget that I am trying to advocate. I'm trying to advocate not for men, but for reason. This cannot possibly end well for anyone. No man and no woman. If we keep this nonsense, this cannot end well for anyone. No man and no woman. And once again, I want you to think that there are real wolves out there. You don't see them. You don't know they are there. But they are ready, always ready to take over. And they are watching what is happening. That's it. I want you to think on this. I want you to reflect on some of these things that I say. I hope you find them useful. I hope you you can have these discussions and see these arguments and discuss them with your families or friends or maybe your girlfriend if you have one. I hope we can spread this word, and I hope we can start turning things around. They are turning around. I can see it. I hope we can turn it around fast enough so we don't collapse. Some people think that the plane ran out of fuel long time ago. We're just planning. We're just gliding. But we're in reality, we're not flying anymore. We're falling. Some people like me think that we still have a chance. And even if we have to crash, still, it can be a crash with the landing gear off or out. We can still, it doesn't have to be crash and burn. We might have a chance to get the landing gear out, and we might be able to have a less traumatic experience when reality catch up. So think of that once again. Have these discussions, explain these, have these conversations, and don't get in trouble. If you are in school, I don't know what to tell you there. It's on you. It's on you. You do whatever you want. By the way, I noticed that I have one subscriber already. I can't see who that person is. I'm very grateful to you. Thank you very much for subscribing. I hope you can help me to grow my channel and help me spread the word, and bring people in, and so we can have discussions and we can expand in whatever subject you guys feel I should expand. And thank you very much to you. Okay guys, have a very good one. Bye bye.